ExamPrep.School. Colorado Public Insurance Adjuster Exam, exam code InsCO-PubAdj14. There are 5 practice exams in this series. This video covers Practice Exam 1. The first 20 questions are free. In this video, we will be covering the following major categories for Practice Exam 1. Colorado Public Adjuster Practices, Responsibilities, and Duties. Colorado Public Adjuster Regulation and Licensing. Colorado Unfair Claims Settlement and Trade Practices. Colorado Claims Handling Requirements. General Property Insurance Product Knowledge. Pertinent to adjusters. Insurance terms and related concepts. Let's walk through the format. I'll read each question and its choices. Let's get started. Question 1. Which of the following is a requirement under Colorado regulations for a business entity applying for a public adjuster license? A. Maintain only a mailing address within Colorado without registering as a foreign entity. B. Obtain a surety bond in the amount of $10,000 before submitting an application. C. Register with the Colorado Secretary of State and maintain a principal place of business in Colorado. D. Provide a certificate of completion for an adjuster per licensing course from any accredited institution. A countdown circle appears in the top right. Once it completes, the answer is revealed. You can pause at any time if you'd like longer to think. If you'd like additional practice covering more topics, see the description for our book. The correct answer is C. The correct answer is that business entities must register with the Colorado Secretary of State and maintain a principal place of business in Colorado because Colorado law requires entities to be authorized and physically present in state to hold a public adjuster license. Reason A is not correct. Maintaining only a mailing address does not satisfy registration and physical office requirements for a licensed business entity. Reason B is not correct. Surety bond requirements pertain to license maintenance and not initial eligibility for a business entity license. Reason D is not correct. Pre-licensing education certificates are required for individual applicants and not for entity qualification. Question 2. Which of the following is typically required as part of the identity verification process for a Colorado Public Adjuster License application? A. Submitting a completed FBI fingerprint card to the Division of Insurance. B. Providing proof of educational credentials from an accredited insurance program. C. Providing a legible copy of a government-issued photo ID and proof of Social Security number. D. Submitting verification of prior adjuster licensure in any other state. The correct answer is C. The correct answer is providing a legible copy of a government-issued photo, ID, and proof of Social Security number, because Colorado requires primary identity documents and SSN verification as part of license application. Reason A is not correct. Fingerprint cards are used for background checks, not for initial identity document verification. Reason B is not correct. Educational credentials satisfy pre-licensing requirements but are not part of identity verification. Reason D is not correct. Verification of prior licensure is needed for license transfers, not standard identity confirmation. Question 3. What is the primary purpose of the fingerprinting requirement in the Colorado Public Adjuster licensing process? A. To obtain an applicant's residency history for eligibility confirmation. B. To verify proof of completion of an adjuster pre-licensing education program. C. To collect biometric information to conduct a criminal history background check. D. To enroll applicants in a state-maintained adjuster disciplinary database. The correct answer is C. The correct answer is collecting biometric information to conduct a criminal history background check because fingerprinting is used to identify applicants in state and federal criminal records before licensure. Reason A is not correct. Residency history is verified through address documentation, not fingerprints. Reason B is not correct. Pre-licensing education proof is submitted via certificates, not biometric data. Reason D is not correct. There is no state database enrollment function for fingerprints beyond background checks. Question 4. Which of the following must be disclosed on a Colorado Public Adjuster license application regarding prior administrative actions? A. Any suspension or revocation of an insurance-related license in any jurisdiction within the past 7 years. B. Any felony conviction under Colorado security statutes. C. Any traffic violations resulting in fines exceeding $500 in the past 3 years. D. Any civil judgments for breach of contract older than 10 years. The correct answer is A. The correct answer is that applicants must disclose any suspension or revocation of an insurance-related license in any jurisdiction within the past 7 years because Colorado requires full disclosure of prior administrative disciplinary actions. Reason B is not correct. Convictions under securities statutes are criminal matters, not administrative licensing actions. Reason C is not correct. Traffic violations are not considered administrative actions related to insurance licensure. Reason D is not correct. Civil judgments older than 10 years fall outside the disclosure period and are not licensing actions. Question 5. An applicant for a Colorado Public Adjuster license was denied a property and casualty producer license in another state 3 years ago due to failure to complete required continuing education. On the Colorado Public Adjuster application, how should the applicant address this prior license denial? A. Respond no, since the previous denial occurred in another state. B. Disclose the denial, including the state, date, and reason, and attach official documentation. C. Disclose only if the denial occurred within the past 5 years. D. Omit the denial because only convictions or disciplinary actions require disclosure. The correct answer is B. The correct answer is to disclose any prior license denial regardless of jurisdiction and provide the state, date, reason, and official documentation as required by Colorado law. Reason A is not correct. Failing to disclose is not permitted even if the denial occurred in another state. Reason C is not correct. Disclosure is required without a specific 5-year limitation, so this option is incorrect. Reason D is not correct. License denials must be disclosed in addition to convictions or disciplinary actions. Question 6. Within how many calendar days before expiration may a Colorado Public Adjuster submit a license renewal application to the Division of Insurance? A. 60 days. B. 90 days. C. 120 days. D. 150 days. The correct answer is B. Emergency treatment for injuries sustained while unloading personal belongings from her vehicle. Reason A is not correct. A 60-day window is too short. The regulations specify a longer lead time for renewals. Reason C is not correct. A 120-day window exceeds the allowed renewal period defined by Colorado regulations. Reason D is not correct. A 150-day period is not authorized. The renewal window is shorter. Question 7. What is the primary purpose of continuing education requirements for Colorado public adjusters? A. To limit the number of adjusters in the market. B. To ensure ongoing professional competency and updated industry knowledge. C. To generate additional revenue for regulatory bodies. D. To standardize fees charged by adjusters. The correct answer is B. This option is correct because continuing education is designed to maintain and enhance the knowledge, skills, and professional competency of adjusters throughout their careers. Reason A is not correct. The requirement is not intended to restrict market participation but to raise professional standards. Reason C is not correct. Continuing education is not a revenue tool for regulators but a competency measure. Reason D is not correct. Standardizing fees is unrelated to the educational objectives set by regulation. Question 8. Which electronic system does the Colorado Division of Insurance use to record completed continuing education credits for public adjuster license renewal? A. NIPR. B. CE Broker. C. Circon. D. ACRS. The correct answer is C. This option is correct because approved CE providers report credit completions directly to the division's CIRCON database, which tracks adjuster continuing education in Colorado. Reason A is not correct. NIPR handles license applications and producer data, but not CE credit reporting in Colorado. Reason B is not correct. CE Broker is used in some states, but Colorado specifically uses CIRCON for CE reporting. Reason D is not correct. ACRES services only a subset of states and is not used by Colorado for CE tracking. Question 9. If a Colorado public adjuster submits a renewal application without meeting the required continuing education credits by the deadline, what is the immediate regulatory consequence? A. License renewal is approved with a penalty fee. B. License renewal is denied, and the license becomes inactive until CE completion. C. Adjuster is placed on probation but license remains active. D. License is permanently revoked. The correct answer is B. This option is correct because failing to satisfy CE requirements by the renewal deadline results in denial of renewal and the license entering an inactive status until the missing credits and any late fees are resolved. Reason A is not correct. Renewal without CEE is not approved even with a fee. It is denied outright. Reason C is not correct. Probation is not the immediate outcome. The license lapses until requirements are met. Reason D is not correct. Permanent revocation does not occur for missing CE. Reinstatement is possible after completion. Question 10. A Colorado public adjuster's license expired on June 30th. On August 15th, the adjuster submits a renewal application with the required renewal fee but has completed only 20 of the 24 required continuing education hours. Under Colorado regulations, what additional steps must be taken beyond the standard renewal process? A. Pay a 25% late renewal penalty on the annual renewal fee and complete the outstanding 4 CE hours within 90 days of renewal approval. B. Enroll in a 4-hour remedial ethics course and pay the late renewal penalty. C. Submit proof of completion for all 24 CE hours within 30 days of application and pay only the standard renewal fee. D. Undergo a fingerprint-based background check and remit an additional investigation fee. The correct answer is A. The correct answer is to pay the statutorily prescribed late renewal penalty, 25% of the renewal fee, and make up the missing continuing education hours within the allowed 90-day cure period per Colorado licensing rules for late renewals with CE deficiencies. Reason B is not correct. This option adds a remedial ethics course requirement that is not specified for late CE deficiencies under Colorado law. Reason C is not correct. This omits the mandated late penalty and unrealistically short cure period not provided by statute. Reason D is not correct. Background checks are only required at initial licensure, not for late renewals. Question 11. Which of the following best describes the regulatory purpose of Colorado insurance oversight in protecting consumers? A. Enforcing uniform policy provisions to minimize contract disputes. B. Requiring pre-approval of all insurer advertising materials. C. Capping premium rates statewide to guarantee affordability. D. Ensuring insurers maintain solvency and financial integrity to fulfill policy obligations. The correct answer is D. The correct answer is ensuring insurers maintain solvency and financial integrity so they can meet their obligations to policyholders and protect consumer interests. Reason A is not correct. Standardizing policy language may reduce disputes, but is not the primary consumer protection objective of insurance oversight. Reason B is not correct. Advertising review is a limited function, not the core reason for oversight in consumer protection. Reason C is not correct. Although rate regulation exists, the main purpose is broader financial solvency rather than imposing statewide premium caps. Question 12. Under Colorado law, which action falls within the general enforcement powers of the Division of Insurance? A. Adjudicating private coverage disputes between policyholders and insurers. B. Determining the validity of appraisal awards and claim settlements. C. Specifying approved investment vehicles for insurer reserve funds. D. Suspending or revoking insurance licenses of public adjusters. The correct answer is D. The correct answer is suspending or revoking insurance licenses of public adjusters, which is a core enforcement authority granted to the Division of Insurance. Reason A is not correct. Adjudication of private disputes is handled by courts, not the division's enforcement process. Reason B is not correct. Appraisal award validity is resolved in appraisal proceedings, not by the division's enforcement actions. Reason C is not correct. Investment regulations may exist, but specifying approved vehicles is not a primary enforcement power. Question 13. Which administrative sanction may the Colorado Division of Insurance impose on a public adjuster for licensing violations? A. Imposition of civil fines. B. Imprisonment for up to 6 months. C. Confiscation of personal assets. D. Assignment of criminal probation. The correct answer is A. The correct answer is imposition of civil fines, which is an administrative penalty the division may assess for licensing violations. Reason B is not correct. Imprisonment is a criminal penalty and not an administrative sanction available to the division. Reason C is not correct. Confiscation of personal assets is neither authorized nor used as an administrative action in licensing matters. Reason D is not correct. Criminal probation is imposed by courts, not through administrative proceedings by the division. Question 14. An insured files a formal complaint with the Colorado Division of Insurance, alleging that their public adjuster misrepresented the scope of coverage. Under Colorado regulations, which action will the division most likely take first? A. Immediately suspend the adjuster's license pending investigation. B. Hold an informal hearing within 10 days to determine probable cause. C. Refer the complaint to the Colorado Attorney General for civil enforcement. D. Notify the adjuster in writing of the complaint and request a written response within a specified time frame. The correct answer is D. The division's initial procedural step is to furnish written notice of the complaint to the licensee and require a response within the regulatory period before pursuing any enforcement actions. Reason A is not correct. A license suspension is a later enforcement measure, not the division's first step upon receiving a complaint. Reason B is not correct. An informal hearing occurs only after a preliminary determination of probable cause, not immediately upon complaint intake. Reason C is not correct. Referral to the Attorney General is reserved for civil or criminal matters, not the initial regulatory process. Question 15. Under Colorado law, engaging in which activity without a public adjuster license is explicitly prohibited as unlicensed public adjusting? A. Representing an insured in negotiating a property insurance claim settlement. B. Assisting an insured in preparing a standardized homeowner's policy renewal application. C. Inspecting property loss solely to provide underwriting recommendations. D. Offering general advice on risk management to prospective clients. The correct answer is A. Colorado statutes define public adjusting as representing an insured in negotiating or settling a claim for compensation, and doing so without a license constitutes unlawful, unlicensed public adjusting. Reason B is not correct. Preparing a renewal application does not involve negotiating claim settlements and is not regulated as public adjusting. Reason C is not correct. Underwriting inspections relate to underwriting, not claim negotiation, so they do not require a public adjuster license. Reason D is not correct. Providing general risk management advice does not include representing an insured in claim settlement negotiations under Colorado statute. Question 16. Which of the following constitutes a misrepresentation of license status under Colorado public adjuster regulations? A. Referring to oneself as a former public adjuster in an archival publication. B. Including a license number and issuing entity on a public adjuster contract. C. Stating on a website that a license is active when it has expired. D. Providing gratis claim advice without charging a fee. The correct answer is C. Misrepresenting an expired license as active violates Colorado rules on truthful representation of licensure status in advertising and communications. Reason A is not correct. Identifying oneself as a former adjuster in historical context does not misrepresent current licensure. Reason B is not correct. Disclosing a license number and issuer on a contract is required, not prohibited. Reason D is not correct. Providing unpaid advice does not involve misstatement of license status. Question 17. Under Colorado public adjuster statutes, forging a claimant's signature on a proof of loss document most directly exposes a licensee to which disciplinary action? A. Requirement to complete additional continuing education hours. B. Suspension or revocation of the public adjuster license. C. Issuance of a cease and desist order without license impact. D. Placement on probation with no license sanction. The correct answer is B. Forgery of claim documents is grounds for license suspension or revocation under Colorado disciplinary regulations for public adjusters. Reason A is not correct. Additional education requirements do not address criminal misconduct like forgery. Reason C is not correct. A cease and desist order alone is insufficient for document forgery offenses. Reason D is not correct. Probation without license sanction does not match the severity of forgery. Question 18. A Colorado licensed public adjuster receives a partial indemnity payment from an insurer for a client's property loss. Instead of depositing the funds into a client trust account, the adjuster places the payment into her general operating account and immediately uses it to cover business expenses. Which action by the adjuster most clearly breaches fiduciary obligations under Colorado public adjuster regulations? A. Depositing the client's indemnity payment into the adjuster's general operating account and using it for business expenses. B. Depositing the indemnity payment into a separate trust account, but delaying the deposit by 2 business days. C. Maintaining segregated client funds but failing to update a detailed ledger of transactions promptly. D. Withholding a contingency fee from the claim payment without first providing written fee disclosure to the client. The correct answer is A. This action commingles client funds with the adjuster's own operational funds and misappropriates them, violating mandatory segregation and fiduciary duties under Colorado law. Reason B is not correct. A brief delay in depositing into a trust account, while not ideal, does not constitute commingling when funds are ultimately kept segregated. Reason C is not correct. Poor record keeping, though a violation, does not involve misusing or commingling client monies. Reason D is not correct. Failure to disclose fees concerns fee disclosure rules, not the segregation of client funds. Question 19. Under Colorado regulation for public adjusters, which of the following elements is explicitly required in a public adjuster's representation agreement? A. An indemnification clause protecting the adjuster from liability. B. A clause guaranteeing the recovery of a minimum settlement amount. C. A mandatory arbitration provision for dispute resolution. D. The public adjuster's license number as issued by the Division of Insurance. The correct answer is D. The representation agreement must include the public adjuster's license number issued by the Division of Insurance. The other listed clauses are neither required nor mandated under Colorado public adjuster regulations. Reason A is not correct. An indemnification clause is not a required contract element under state rules. Reason B is not correct. Guaranteeing a minimum recovery is not a required element and may conflict with fee disclosure rules. Reason C is not correct. A mandatory arbitration provision is not prescribed by Colorado public adjuster regulations. Question 20. According to Colorado public adjuster regulations, the representation agreement must clearly disclose the method for calculating the adjuster's contingency fee. Which of the following disclosures satisfies this requirement? A. A list of reimbursable costs without specifying the fee basis. B. A description of the depreciation schedule used for actual cash value calculations. C. A timeline estimate for file completion. D. A statement that the fee is a percentage of the gross insurance recovery prior to deducting claim-related expenses. The correct answer is D. Regulations require disclosing that the fee is calculated as a percentage of the gross recovery before deducting expenses. Other disclosures fail to specify the contingency fee basis. Reason A is not correct. Listing costs without stating the fee basis does not fulfill the contingency fee disclosure requirement. Reason B is not correct. Depreciation schedules relate to claim valuation, not fee calculation disclosure. Reason C is not correct. An estimated timeline does not address how the contingency fee is determined. Enjoyed this practice test? Tap like, hit subscribe, and share it with a classmate. Got a question we should tweak? Comment below. We read them all. Find full practice exam books in the description or at ExamPrep.School.